G'day! In today's video I'm doing a screen replacement on an Oppo A52 with its replacement screen looking like this. So to begin with, we're probably wanting to remove the SIM tray out of it, have your phone switch off, and also I've had this phone on a heat pad now at 75 degrees Celsius for about 5 minutes. And I'm hoping that has softened the adhesive on the back so I can get in. But to help get in there as well is I'm going to use some isopropyl alcohol, a thin metal pry tool, and that will help me get in there. The isopropyl tends to soften the adhesive so you can get in there without too much drama. So it should hopefully cut through reasonably well. There we go, now it's slicing through. And because it's plastic, we can lift it slightly without really much risk of damaging it. There we go. There we go, and we are now in. Next up from here, it looks like we have to remove the back plastic or middle frame. And to do that, we are requiring a thin or small screwdriver, small Phillips head. So I'll proceed to take those screws out now. Actually, just checking out the design of it, we may be able to get away without doing that. We'll find out just shortly. So all those screws are the same length. We'll go down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll take those out too. What we're aiming to do from here would be to take the middle frame off, take the battery out, and disconnect and remove the battery, and then we should be able to disconnect the screen from there and from the underneath, and then get in. So nothing further around here. That started to lift it. Pry into the gap and twist. There we go. And we're in. So I'll put that off at the side. Next up, disconnect the battery. Then from here as well, I'm just going to lift up and out the battery, but it will do one thing after that. So if we lift the battery out, what you'd probably want to do prior to installing a brand new screen, just to test out the quality of it. So what we'll do from here, I'll just fully remove this. There we go. I'll wrap this back around. There we go. And yeah, just quickly connect up your screen, your new one, and just make sure it is fully functional before you remove your old one, as there are plenty of dud parts that get out there in the world. You don't want to go through the full process of installing it to find out that it doesn't work. There we go, connect it up, hit the power button. So that's a good sign. But I'm going to give this a quick test off camera. So right now, screen tested good, so I'll proceed. So from here, I'm taking out the battery. I want to lift up the screen. So from here, what I like to try and do is use a flathead screwdriver to push the screen out, which if we're lucky, there's enough adhesive or a lack of adhesive that it causes it to pop out. So as I've pushed on there, this section over here is popped. Granted, you do run the risk of more glass shards. There we go. So that's put out a bit of it, not as much as I would have liked. So I'll proceed onwards. From here you can either use a pair of tweezers or a flathead screwdriver to remove the remainder of the glass. So I'm just going to find my flathead suitable. So tweezers or flathead screwdriver. I'll tell a lie, I'm going to go tweezers. Now, only earlier today I worked on another Oppo, an Oppo AX5S, and the build quality, or the assembly method's almost identical, but the overall quality of it looks considerably better on this model. Now, one thing I didn't factor in just then is I believe there's a little mesh grill at the top here. We'll have to salvage the old screen. Just double check that. The other thing I find is when you're removing glass, I'm usually using an old toothbrush. Helps with clearing it. So a couple of different directions with that. Got some glass down the bottom there still. And if you're really confident that you've removed it all, you should be able to go over the edges with your thumb. And you shouldn't get any stabs in the finger. Right now, I'm pretty happy with that. There is a little bit of factory adhesive, rubbery adhesive still there, but that's not going to cause me any dramas. So I'm going to put that down for a sec and double check the original screen. And like my suspicion, there is a mesh grill right here. Very tiny, but enough that it would look a bit incomplete without it. So luckily for us, we can probably just let it sit there. Up in here. Get it in the right way. It should just sit by itself, like that. There we go. So that's just sitting there, the mesh facing outwards. And now I'm going to use some B7000 frame adhesive. A fan of that. And we're going to take off a few of these blue films, like so. Also on the back here. These two here probably aren't as vital. Like that. And one over here too. There we go. And should be able to fold it over. And next off, this section here. Looking good. I don't know what these blue bits are down here. There we go. There. Now that's prepped. Let's put some frame adhesive on, and then right at the very end we'll take this bit of protector off to stop any dirt or dust getting in the front facing camera. This stuff's pretty darn tacky, pretty good. So I'm just going to do a thin bead around the outer perimeter. Go, I tend to go down once and then back over it again. In this section I'm probably going to put very little in the middle, just because I know that's going to cause grief. And also right here, we can't quite see it on camera, but there is a proximity sensor there, so I'll probably almost avoid that as well. Put some on top of the glass, just to avoid it. And it is mostly covered now. Great. So I've gone around all edges. Next up, we're going to feed the LCD cable through the body of the phone. Take off front-facing camera. Now we're going to flip the screen down into here because we don't want that mesh up the top here to fall out. So we'll feed it through, line it up, loosely drop it in, and just work your way around it. Now you may have some glue come out. You can choose to use double-sided tape, but this is a much more professional way to do it. Yeah, looking all right there. Pretty happy with that. Next up, reconnecting the flex cable or the display cable connector. Typically what I do is I click it on first. So I line it up, go click, push it up in there, and then work my way back. He decided to disconnect on me. There we go. So with that one reconnected, and yep, connected. We're right to put the battery in now. So battery, connect it up first, and then move it into position, and then push down. So right now, we're on the home stretch to finishing. This needs to go back over. There we go. So this needs to go back over. It's just a matter of pinching it and pulling it together. I don't believe it matters where you start on this one, just as long as it all clicks into position. Okay, I'm going to put this down now, and now it's a matter of putting the screws back in. One, two, 3, 4, 4 more remaining, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now 5 across the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, and last screw. So now we're all out of screws. What do we do from here? Next up from here, we'll be putting on the back cover. And I find that Oppo's adhesive tends to come off like a felt material. So because of that, you could either use glue, so same glue, or you could use red tape. what I typically use is, this time I'm going to use a combination of the pair. I'm going to use the frame adhesive around the camera, and then I'm going to use double-sided tape around the outer perimeter of the back cover. Just because you have to wait for the glue to bond, where the tape normally has its best stick right at the start. So we'll shuffle that over. And now I'm just going to put some four-sided tape on here, and we will be done. So this part here is pretty straightforward. If you've done the rest of the job, this should be pretty self-explanatory and not much to be mentioned here actually. So I'm going to continue doing this. Might have a bit more of a ramble, but that's essentially the end of the video there. So if you got to this stage, you should have successfully replaced the display in your Oppo A52, which on the scale of phone repairs is on a lower difficulty tier. So if you could do with this model of phone, you could probably do most iPhones, a few Xiaomi phones. I will need to trim this tape up a little bit. So yeah, in short, I hope this video has helped you, and I'll catch you guys in another video. Catches. Time to get some thinner tape. Bam, 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 bam. Need my heat back on, because right now that will make the adhesive more stronger. If this had an IP rating, you probably wouldn't get the same IP rating at sticking it afterwards. So we'll go stick, 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 stick. Move it over a little bit. Looking like a new phone. Excellent. SIM card and SIM tray back in. Three, two, one. Done. Hope that helps you. See you later.